In the dense forests of the Pacific Northwest, a fallen tree becomes a universe unto itself. As it slowly decays, it nurtures countless organisms, from fungi and insects to seedlings that take root in its decomposing trunk. This scene, common in nature yet profound in its implications, beautifully illustrates the deep connections between Buddhist concepts of dependent origination and interpenetration of phenomena and modern ecological principles. The Buddhist notion of dependent origination, or pratityasamutpada in Sanskrit, teaches that all phenomena arise in dependence upon other phenomena. Nothing exists in isolation, everything is interconnected in a vast web of cause and effect. This fundamental principle finds a striking parallel in ecology, where the intricate relationships between organisms and their environments form the basis of ecosystem dynamics. Nichiren Daishonin, the 13th century Buddhist monk, expressed this concept eloquently when he wrote, "If the minds of living beings are impure, their land is also impure, but if their minds are pure, so is their land." There are not two lands, pure or impure in themselves. The difference lies solely in the good or evil of our minds. This passage not only emphasizes the interdependence of mind and environment but also hints at the profound influence our actions can have on the world around us. In ecological terms, this interconnectedness is evident in food webs, nutrient cycles, and the complex interactions between species. Just as Nichiren suggests that our minds shape our reality, ecologists recognize that each organism plays a crucial role in shaping its ecosystem. The actions of one species can have far-reaching consequences throughout the entire ecological community. Take, for example, the role of keystone species in maintaining ecosystem balance. In the Pacific Northwest, sea otters play a crucial role in kelp forest ecosystems. By feeding on sea urchins, which graze on kelp, sea otters help maintain healthy kelp forests. These forests, in turn, provide habitat for numerous other species and sequester large amounts of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. The presence or absence of sea otters can dramatically alter the entire coastal ecosystem, illustrating the principle of dependent origination in action. This ecological example resonates with the Buddhist concept of the interpenetration of phenomena, or Jiji-Muge in Japanese. This principle, central to Mahayana Buddhist philosophy, suggests that all phenomena are not only interconnected but also contain and reflect all other phenomena. In the words of the Avatamsaka Sutra, in each particle of dust, there are present Buddhas without number. Dr. Daisaku Ikeda explains this concept in more accessible terms. The life of a single individual is connected to the life of all humankind, and the life of humanity is connected to the life of the universe. This perspective encourages us to see ourselves not as separate from nature, but as an integral part of it. Ecologists have come to similar conclusions through their study of ecosystems. The concept of holism in ecology, introduced by Jan Smuts in the early 20th century, posits that natural systems should be viewed as wholes, not as collections of parts. This idea aligns closely with the Buddhist view of interpenetration, suggesting that to truly understand any part of an ecosystem, we must consider its relationships with all other parts. The principle of interpenetration is vividly illustrated in the concept of trophic cascades in ecology. A trophic cascade occurs when changes in the abundance of one species ripple through multiple levels of a food web, altering the entire ecosystem. The reintroduction of wolves to Yellowstone National Park in 1995 provides a compelling example. The wolves' return not only reduced elk populations but also changed elk behavior, leading to the regeneration of aspen and willow trees. This, in turn, stabilized riverbanks, altered river courses, and created habitats for beavers, fish, and birds. The presence of wolves even influenced the park's physical geography. As Nichiren might have observed, the introduction of one element, wolves, revealed the interpenetration of all elements in the Yellowstone ecosystem. The Buddhist concept of the interpenetration of phenomena also resonates with modern understanding of ecosystem services, the benefits that nature provides to humans. Clean air, fresh water, pollination, and climate regulation are all examples of ecosystem services that depend on the complex interactions between organisms and their environments. Just as Buddhist philosophy sees all phenomena as interconnected and mutually influential, ecologists recognize that human well-being is inextricably linked to the health of ecosystems. Nichiren Daishonin emphasized the importance of recognizing these interconnections in daily life. He wrote, "If you light a lantern for another, it will also brighten your own way." This simple metaphor encapsulates both the Buddhist principle of interconnectedness and the ecological understanding that actions beneficial to the environment ultimately benefit humans as well. The concept of biodiversity further illustrates the alignment between Buddhist thought and ecological principles. Biodiversity, the variety of life in a particular habitat or ecosystem, is crucial for maintaining ecological stability and resilience. Each species plays a unique role, contributing to the overall functioning of the ecosystem. This echoes the Buddhist view that each phenomenon, no matter how small, contains and reflects the whole. Dr. Ikeda elaborates on this point. Life is inherently endowed with the power to transform even the most difficult circumstances into causes for joy and creativity. It is when we squarely face a difficult situation that we see it transform into an opportunity for growth. In ecological terms, this might be likened to the way ecosystems respond to disturbances, often developing greater resilience and complexity in the process. The recognition of these deep interconnections has profound implications for how we approach environmental conservation and sustainability. Just as Buddhist practice encourages mindfulness and awareness of our actions' consequences, ecological understanding calls for a holistic approach to environmental management. Nichiren Buddhism's emphasis on the concept of Esho Funi, the oneness of life and its environment, provides a philosophical framework that aligns closely with modern ecological thinking. Nichiren wrote, "Environment is like the shadow, and life, the body. Without the body, no shadow can exist, and without life, no environment. In the same way, life is shaped by its environment." This perspective encourages a view of humans not as separate from nature, but as an integral part of it. This holistic view is increasingly being adopted in conservation biology and ecosystem management. Instead of focusing solely on protecting individual species, many conservationists now advocate for ecosystem-based management approaches that consider the complex web of relationships within a habitat. This shift mirrors the Buddhist emphasis on understanding phenomena not in isolation, but in relation to the whole. The concept of keystone species in ecology provides another compelling parallel to Buddhist thought. Keystone species have a disproportionate impact on their ecosystem relative to their abundance, much like how in Buddhism, seemingly small actions can have far-reaching effects due to the interconnected nature of all phenomena. As Nichiren taught, when one lights a fire for others, one illuminates one's own way. Climate change offers perhaps the most urgent and global example of the principles of dependent origination and interpenetration at work in our world today. The complex feedback loops involved in climate systems, where small changes can lead to large and often unpredictable outcomes, mirror the Buddhist understanding of the intricate web of cause and effect that shapes our reality. Dr. Ikeda comments on this global challenge. Environmental problems are not simply a matter of science and technology, they are also deeply related to the human heart and mind. This perspective aligns with the growing recognition among climate scientists and policymakers that addressing climate change requires not just technological solutions, but also shifts in human behavior and values. The Buddhist emphasis on compassion and the interconnectedness of all life offers a powerful ethical framework for approaching environmental challenges. If we truly understand our deep connections to the natural world, as both Buddhism and ecology suggest, then caring for the environment becomes an expression of caring for ourselves and all living beings. Nichiren's teachings on the interconnected nature of life and its environment provide guidance for cultivating this compassionate approach. He wrote, "If you care nothing about what becomes of the land, the people, or their future, you are no better than an animal or bird." This stark statement underscores the moral imperative to consider the wider implications of our actions. As we deepen our understanding of ecological principles, we find increasing resonance with ancient Buddhist wisdom. The concepts of dependent origination and interpenetration of phenomena offer a philosophical foundation that aligns remarkably well with modern scientific understanding of ecosystem dynamics and the interconnectedness of all life. This alignment between Buddhist thought and ecological principles offers a powerful framework for addressing the environmental challenges of our time. By recognizing our deep connections to the natural world, we can cultivate a more harmonious and sustainable relationship with our environment. Nichiren Daishonen's writings continue to offer relevant guidance in this endeavor. He advised, regard both suffering and joy as facts of life, and continue chanting Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, no matter what happens. While Nichiren was speaking in a spiritual context, his words can be interpreted as an encouragement to persist in our efforts to understand and protect the natural world, regardless of the challenges we face. As we navigate the complex environmental issues of the 21st century, the synthesis of Buddhist wisdom and ecological understanding offers a path forward. It encourages us to see ourselves not as separate from nature, but as an integral part of the vast, interconnected web of life. In doing so, we may find new ways to live in harmony with our environment, honoring the profound interconnections that sustain all life on Earth. In conclusion, the Buddhist concepts of dependent origination and interpenetration of phenomena provide a philosophical framework that aligns remarkably well with ecological principles about the interrelationships of organisms and their environments. This convergence of ancient wisdom and modern science offers not only a deeper understanding of our place in the natural world but also guidance for addressing the pressing environmental challenges of our time. As Nichiren Daishonin wisely noted, when the skies are clear, the ground is illuminated. Similarly, when one's mind is pure, one's surroundings will also become pure. In the context of our exploration, we might interpret this to mean that as our understanding of ecological interconnections deepens, so too does our ability to create positive change in the world around us. By recognizing the profound interdependence of all phenomena, we open ourselves to a more compassionate, sustainable, and harmonious relationship with the natural world. This deep understanding of interconnectedness also resonates with the concept of interbeing, a term coined by the Vietnamese Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh. Interbeing suggests that nothing can exist by itself alone. Everything must interbe with everything else. This principle aligns closely with both the Buddhist concept of dependent origination and ecological understanding of ecosystem dynamics. In the context of ecology, interbeing is evident in the complex relationships between species in an ecosystem. For instance, the relationship between flowering plants and their pollinators exemplifies this concept. The plants depend on pollinators for reproduction, while the pollinators rely on the plants for food. This mutual dependence has shaped the evolution of both groups over millions of years, resulting in intricate adaptations and co-evolutionary relationships. Nichiren Daishonin, while not using the term interbeing, expressed similar ideas in his writings. He stated, "If you light a fire for others, it will also brighten your own way." This simple yet profound statement encapsulates the essence of interbeing, suggesting that our actions for the benefit of others ultimately benefit ourselves as well. In ecological terms, this might be likened to how actions that benefit ecosystem health ultimately support human well-being through improved ecosystem services. The concept of keystone species in ecology provides another compelling illustration of interbeing and the interpenetration of phenomena. Keystone species, such as sea otters in kelp forests or wolves in terrestrial ecosystems, have a disproportionate impact on their environment relative to their abundance. The presence or absence of these species can dramatically alter the entire ecosystem, demonstrating how deeply interconnected and mutually influential different species can be. This ecological understanding aligns with Nichiren's teaching that a single drop of water contains all the myriad waves of the great ocean. Just as a keystone species contains within it the potential to shape an entire ecosystem, Nichiren suggests that each phenomenon contains and reflects all other phenomena. The recognition of these deep interconnections has profound implications for environmental ethics and conservation strategies. If we truly understand the principle of interbeing, we realize that harming the environment is ultimately harming ourselves. This realization can serve as a powerful motivator for environmental protection and sustainable living. Dr. Daisaku Ikeda elaborates on this point. Our lives and the environment are one. Whatever we do to the environment, we do to ourselves. It is imperative that we develop the wisdom to see this. This perspective encourages a shift from viewing nature as a resource to be exploited to seeing it as an extension of ourselves that requires care and respect. In the field of conservation biology, this holistic understanding has led to the development of ecosystem-based management approaches. Rather than focusing solely on protecting individual species, these approaches consider the complex web of relationships within an ecosystem. This shift in conservation strategy mirrors the Buddhist emphasis on understanding phenomena not in isolation, but in relation to the whole. The concept of ecological succession provides another fascinating parallel between Buddhist thought and ecological principles. Succession refers to the gradual change in species composition of an ecological community over time. This process demonstrates how ecosystems are not static entities but are in a constant state of change and adaptation, much like the Buddhist concept of impermanence or anicca. Nichiren touched on this idea of constant change when he wrote, "Winter always turns to spring." While he was using this as a metaphor for life's challenges, it also beautifully captures the cyclical nature of ecological processes. Just as ecosystems go through periods of disturbance and renewal, Nichiren encourages his followers to view life's difficulties as opportunities for growth and transformation. The Buddhist concept of the middle way, which advocates for a balanced approach to life, finds resonance in ecological principles of homeostasis and ecosystem balance. In ecology, homeostasis refers to the tendency of biological systems to maintain stable conditions. This doesn't mean a static state, but rather a dynamic equilibrium that allows for adaptation and resilience in the face of change. Nichiren's teachings often emphasized the importance of balance. He wrote, "Anything in excess is harmful. Even too much good can be detrimental." This principle applies equally well to ecological systems, where extremes in any direction, be it temperature, rainfall, or population sizes, can disrupt the delicate balance of an ecosystem. The recognition of these parallels between Buddhist philosophy and ecological principles offers a unique perspective on environmental challenges. It suggests that addressing these issues requires not just scientific and technological solutions, but also a fundamental shift in how we perceive our relationship with the natural world. Climate change, perhaps the most pressing environmental issue of our time, provides a powerful illustration of the principles of dependent origination and interbeing on a global scale. The complex feedback loops involved in climate systems, where small changes can lead to large and often unpredictable outcomes, mirror the Buddhist understanding of the intricate web of cause and effect that shapes our reality. Dr. Ikeda comments on this global challenge. Environmental problems are not simply a matter of science and technology, they are also deeply related to the human heart and mind. This perspective aligns with the growing recognition among climate scientists and policymakers that addressing climate change requires not just technological solutions, but also shifts in human behavior and values. The Buddhist emphasis on compassion and the interconnectedness of all life offers a powerful ethical framework for approaching these environmental challenges. If we truly understand our deep connections to the natural world, as both Buddhism and ecology suggest, then caring for the environment becomes an expression of caring for ourselves and all living beings. Nichiren's teachings on the interconnected nature of life and its environment provide guidance for cultivating this compassionate approach. He wrote, "If you care nothing about what becomes of the land, the people, or their future, you are no better than an animal or bird." This stark statement underscores the moral imperative to consider the wider implications of our actions. As we face the environmental challenges of the 21st century, the synthesis of Buddhist wisdom and ecological understanding offers a path forward. It encourages us to see ourselves not as separate from nature, but as an integral part of the vast, interconnected web of life. In doing so, we may find new ways to live in harmony with our environment, honoring the profound interconnections that sustain all life on Earth. In conclusion, the Buddhist concepts of dependent origination and interpenetration of phenomena provide a philosophical framework that aligns remarkably well with ecological principles about the interrelationships of organisms and their environments. This convergence of ancient wisdom and modern science offers not only a deeper understanding of our place in the natural world but also guidance for addressing the pressing environmental challenges of our time. As Nichiren Daishonin wisely noted, when the skies are clear, the ground is illuminated. Similarly, when one's mind is pure, one's surroundings will also become pure. In the context of our exploration, we might interpret this to mean that as our understanding of ecological interconnections deepens, so too does our ability to create positive change in the world around us. By recognizing the profound interdependence of all phenomena, we open ourselves to a more compassionate, sustainable, and harmonious relationship with the natural world. The alignment between Buddhist principles and ecological understanding extends beyond theoretical concepts into practical applications for environmental stewardship and sustainable living. This convergence offers a powerful framework for addressing contemporary environmental challenges, from local conservation efforts to global climate action. One area where this synthesis proves particularly valuable is in the realm of environmental ethics. The Buddhist principle of ahimsa, or non-harm, when applied to ecological contexts, encourages a more mindful and compassionate approach to our interactions with nature. This aligns with the growing field of conservation ethics, which grapples with questions of how to balance human needs with the preservation of biodiversity and ecosystem health. Nichiren Daishonin, while not explicitly addressing environmental issues in his 13th-century writings, provided guidance that remains relevant to these modern challenges. He wrote, "If one lights a fire for others, one will brighten one's own way." In the context of environmental stewardship, this can be interpreted as a call to action. By working to protect and restore ecosystems, we ultimately benefit ourselves and future generations. This perspective is echoed in the concept of ecosystem services, a key principle in modern ecology that highlights the myriad ways in which healthy ecosystems support human well-being. From the provision of clean air and water to climate regulation and soil fertility, the services provided by natural systems are essential for human survival and prosperity. The recognition of these services aligns with the Buddhist understanding of the interconnectedness of all phenomena. Dr. Daisaku Ikeda expands on this idea, stating, "Our lives and environment are one. Whatever we do to the environment, we do to ourselves. It is imperative that we develop the wisdom to see this." This holistic view encourages a shift from seeing nature as a resource to be exploited to recognizing it as a complex system of which we are an integral part. In practical terms, this understanding can inform approaches to environmental management and conservation. For instance, the concept of adaptive management in ecology, which emphasizes learning and flexibility in response to ecosystem changes, resonates with the Buddhist principle of impermanence. Just as Buddhists recognize that all phenomena are in a constant state of flux, adaptive management acknowledges the dynamic nature of ecosystems and the need for continual adjustment in our conservation strategies. Nichiren's teachings on perseverance in the face of challenges offer guidance for those engaged in environmental work. He wrote, "Regard both suffering and joy as facts of life, and continue chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, no matter what happens." While Nichiren was referring to spiritual practice, this advice can be applied to environmental efforts. It encourages persistence in the face of setbacks, recognizing that positive change often requires sustained effort over long periods. The Buddhist concept of the middle way, which advocates for a balanced approach to life, finds resonance in ecological principles of sustainability. In environmental terms, sustainability involves finding a balance between meeting human needs and preserving ecological integrity. This parallels the Buddhist emphasis on avoiding extremes and seeking a harmonious middle path. Dr. Ikeda elaborates on this point, the fundamental solution to environmental concerns lies in the full realization of the inherent dignity of both humanity and nature. This is a process of value creation that can be achieved through the full and balanced development of both scientific and spiritual wisdom. This statement underscores the importance of integrating scientific knowledge with ethical and spiritual considerations in addressing environmental challenges. The principle of interdependence, central to both Buddhist philosophy and ecology, has profound implications for how we approach global environmental issues like climate change. The complex, interconnected nature of climate systems mirrors the Buddhist understanding of the web of cause and effect that shapes our reality. Recognizing these interconnections can motivate more comprehensive and collaborative approaches to climate action. Nichiren's writings offer inspiration for those grappling with the scale and complexity of such global challenges. He stated, "When one takes action for the sake of the law, one will be protected by all heavenly deities." While Nichiren was speaking in a spiritual context, this can be interpreted as an affirmation of the power of principled action. In environmental terms, it suggests that efforts aligned with natural laws and ecological principles will ultimately be supported by the interconnected systems of the Earth. The concept of interbeing, as articulated by Thich Nhat Hanh, provides a powerful framework for understanding our relationship with the environment. He writes, "We inter are with one another and with all life." This perspective encourages a shift from seeing ourselves as separate from nature to recognizing our fundamental interconnectedness with all living systems. This understanding aligns closely with the ecological concept of biocentrism, which extends moral consideration to all living things. Just as Buddhism recognizes the inherent value of all sentient beings, biocentrism argues for the intrinsic worth of all forms of life, challenging anthropocentric views that prioritize human interests above all else. The synthesis of Buddhist wisdom and ecological understanding also offers insights into the psychological dimensions of environmental challenges. The Buddhist emphasis on mindfulness and present moment awareness can be a powerful tool for cultivating a deeper connection with nature. By encouraging direct, attentive engagement with our environment, mindfulness practices can foster greater ecological awareness and empathy. Nichiren's teachings on the transformative power of the human spirit offer hope in the face of daunting environmental challenges. He wrote, "A sword is useless in the hands of a coward. The mighty sword of the Lotus Sutra must be wielded by one courageous in faith." In the context of environmental action, this can be interpreted as a call to courageous and determined effort, recognizing that the tools and knowledge we possess are only as effective as our will to use them. As we navigate the complex environmental landscape of the 21st century, the integration of Buddhist principles and ecological understanding provides a robust framework for action. It encourages a holistic view that recognizes the profound interconnections between human well-being and environmental health. It calls for compassionate and mindful engagement with the natural world, grounded in both scientific knowledge and ethical consideration. The alignment between Buddhist concepts of dependent origination and interpenetration of phenomena and ecological principles of interconnectedness offers a powerful paradigm for environmental stewardship. It provides not only a deeper understanding of our place in the natural world but also practical guidance for addressing pressing environmental challenges. As Nichiren Daishonin wisely noted, "When one knows the Lotus Sutra, one understands the meaning of all worldly affairs." In our contemporary context, we might interpret this to mean that a deep understanding of our interconnectedness with nature provides insight into the challenges we face and the solutions we must pursue. By embracing this holistic perspective, we can work towards a more sustainable and harmonious relationship with the Earth, honoring the intricate web of life of which we are a part.